In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent. Now with the main headlines. Conflict-induced instability is main reason behind poverty rise in sub-Saharan Africa, World Bank says. Berlin sees launch of exhibition to address anti-Muslim sentiment and racial discrimination. Muslims continue to face opposition from Americans to construct Islamic cemeteries, new report confirms. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi discusses ruling of using inhalers while fasting. Peace be upon the Master of Martyrs, peace be upon you, dear viewers. This is Imam Hussein and you're watching Shia Waves live from Imam Hussein TV 3. According to statistics compiled by the World Bank, poverty has dramatically increased in sub-Saharan countries due to conflicts and political instability in the region. The report pointed out that in 1990, 80% of the world's poor were living in South Asia, while only 13.8% were in sub-Saharan Africa. In 2019, though, the share in South Asia fell to 31.4%, while that of sub-Saharan Africa increased to 56.6%. The World Bank explained that within sub-Saharan Africa, poverty is increasingly concentrated in fragile and conflict-affected states. These include Madagascar, Burundi, South Sudan, the Central African Republic, Malawi, Mozambique, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Zambia. In fact, the only country outside sub-Saharan Africa included as an FCS that registered a poverty rate above 60% was Syria. Yemen was a close second with 58%. The German capital Berlin has hosted an art exhibition featuring a diverse collection of photos aimed at drawing attention to discrimination and anti-Muslim sentiments, known as Islamophobia. The exhibition, organized by the Islamic Federation in Berlin, was inaugurated on Friday in front of the Maulana Mosque in the Kreuzberg area, marking the International Day for Combating Islamophobia on March 15th. The exhibition includes a variety of photos highlighting mosque attacks, arsons, discrimination and racial terrorism in Germany. This exhibition comes amid increasing cases of discrimination against Muslims worldwide, reflecting the ongoing commitment of the global community to combat all forms of bigotry, hatred and racism. A report reveals the suffering of thousands of Muslims in America when burying their deceased due to opposition from right-wing parties and extremist movements to the opening of Islamic cemeteries in the United States. The report documented more than 20 incidents where people protested against the construction of an Islamic cemetery in states across the country. The report seen by Shia Waves agencies stated that the burial process of Muslims in the United States has turned into fierce battles to prevent the opening of Islamic cemeteries for years. It detailed that the Orlando Park Muslim Center recently received a protest petition against the idea of establishing an Islamic cemetery in the area, but officials were not surprised by this due to previous opposition in other American regions. The report explained that Muslims have previously tried to build and open cemeteries in several American states, while each time they faced racist and anti-Muslim reactions. It pointed out that critics in the community did what they could to stop the cemetery from being built, claiming it would bring unnecessary traffic to the area, decrease property values, and affect the area's drinking water. Let us remind our respected viewers of today's headlines. Conflict-induced instability is main reason behind poverty rise in sub-Saharan Africa, World Bank says. Berlin sees launch of exhibition to address anti-Muslim sentiment and racial discrimination. Muslims continue to face opposition from Americans to construct Islamic cemeteries, new report confirms. Also tonight, Holy Najaf hosts largest annual Ramadan iftar banquet. During his daily scholarly session, Grand Ayatollah Shirazi discussed the ruling of using an inhaler during the holy month of Ramadan. Let's watch the statements of Grand Ayatollah Shirazi.
آخه تو از ادله ما کلمه بلعیدن که نداریم. تو ادله داریم یا اکل و شرب یا جایی که عرفاً اکل و شربش نمیگن، مثل یک قطره آب که اجماع و تسالم و ارتکاز هست. از این که گفتن عرفیه. صاحب عرفه از کجا حرف الخاء آورده؟ کجا عرفیه؟ اما روشن نی واقعش، مسلم نی. لحاظا منم تو ذهنم هست همین جای عروه رو که ایشون فرموده از حرف خا اگر رفت پایین بنابراین غرغره اصلا اشکال داره حاشیه نکرده. اما از نظر علمی فکر میکنم که روشن نی مسئله. صدق عرفی اکل اینه که یه لقمه غذا بخوره. بله بله، این که دلیل نداره. بله ظهور عرفی قبول، اما در باب صوم بالخصوص همه مطلقات منصرف به مصادیق عرفیه الا در مثل صوم که ما ارتکاز داریم، تسالم داریم، اجماع داریم بر اینکه مصداق عرفی لازم نیست، مصداق دقی هم که باشه مفطره در باب صوم. اگر جاهای دیگه ما نمیگیم این را، جاهای دیگه میگیم مطلقات منصرف به مصادیق عرفیه و عرفی نیست. یه قطره آب خوردن نمیگن شربه، عرفن نمیگن، دقیقاً بله شربه است.
And now we continue with some short news. In conjunction with the holy month of Ramadan, prominent Indian newspapers have published a series of fatwas by the Supreme Religious Authority Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq al-Husseini Shirazi, in addition to answering jurisprudential questions. According to the director of the office of Grand Ayatollah Shirazi in India, Hujjat al-Islam wal-Muslimin Sayyid Saif Abbas Naqvi, this step is particularly important as it is a part of the observance of the blessed month of Ramadan. Sayyid Naqvi further elaborated that among the newspapers that have published the fatwas of Grand Ayatollah Shirazi and the answers to jurisprudential questions were Sahafat, Nuruz, Udama in Urdu, and the newspapers Denik and Stakshi Shan in Hindi. At least 22 people, including 7 children, have lost their lives after the rubber dinghy they were travelling on overturned off the Turkish island of Gökçeada in the Aegean Sea. According to Turkish officials, the boat began sinking overnight, instigating a search and rescue operation backed by 1 plane, 2 helicopters, 1 drone, 18 boats and 502 personnel. At least 3,129 deaths and disappearances have been registered in the Mediterranean since 2017, making it the deadliest route for migrants and refugees according to International Organization for Migration. Amnesty International has welcomed the 1-year extension of UNAMA's mission in Afghanistan and urged the head of UNAMA to prioritize the rights of women, girls and minorities and address the humanitarian crisis in the country. They emphasized the importance of UNAMA's monitoring and reporting on the human rights situation and call for continued public reporting and pressure to repeal restrictive laws against women and girls' rights. Last night, the United Nations Security Council extended UNAMA's mission in Afghanistan until March 17, 2025, in response to the dire humanitarian crisis and strict rules affecting women in the country. Freezing temperatures induced by heavy snowfall and rain in Afghanistan has led to the death of at least 60 people over the past more than 3 weeks. According to Taliban authorities, as many as 34 others were also injured, while over 1,600 houses were destroyed during this period. The heavy snowfall and snowstorms also led to the blockage of several roads in the country. The war-torn nation has witnessed several floods, earthquakes and droughts over the past few years, worsening the already poor state of infrastructure. UN independent experts issued a warning on Friday, the International Day to Combat Islamophobia, highlighting a global escalation in acts of harassment, violence and incitement based on religion or belief, including against Muslims. They emphasized the rise in religious intolerance and called for strengthened international efforts to promote tolerance and peace. These experts called on all states to respond to religious hatred based on universal values and legal frameworks. Concerns were expressed about the public burnings of the Holy Quran, restrictions during Ramadan, and attacks on Muslim minorities globally. As part of promoting solidarity and brotherhood during the holy month of Ramadan, the people of Holy Najaf, Iraq, every year organize the largest iftar banquet that extends along the roads leading to the shrine of Imam Ali, peace be upon him. This massive Ramadan banquet serves as a special occasion for residents and visitors to gather and interact in peaceful and blessed Ramadan atmospheres, with food tables distributed along the main road sides, offering delicious and diverse iftar meals to participants. This charitable initiative reflects the high humanitarian spirit that characterizes the city of Holy Najaf, where residents joyfully participate in providing and distributing food to both fasting individuals and visitors alike, highlighting the values of solidarity and tolerance that are considered fundamental pillars in the local community. We have reached the end of today's Shia Waves show. Let's remind our viewers of today's headlines. Conflict-induced instability is main reason behind poverty rise in sub-Saharan Africa, World Bank says. Berlin sees launch of exhibition to address anti-Muslim sentiment and racial discrimination. Muslims continue to face opposition from Americans to construct Islamic cemeteries, new report confirms. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi discusses ruling of using inhalers while fasting. Holy Najaf hosts largest annual Ramadan.
How do we increase our relationship with the Holy Quran? As the month of Ramadan is upon us soon, we always look at opportunities to increase our relationship with the Quran in an efficient manner. Now, many times people end up attempting or making the intention to recite the entire Quran with